TV, Ottawa.
Welcome to Daytime Ottawa here on Rogers TV. Oh my goodness, what a fantastic show. Talking a little theater on the show today. We're talking about two brand new books, as a matter of fact, on today's show. Also going to be talking about a fabulous magazine. They are doing it digitally to begin with, sort of a seasonal rollout of it. And we start here in the kitchen with one of my favorite people. Daniela Croco joins us here on the show. Welcome back. Great to have you.
Always so fun.
Let's start with the excitement, because season 4 of Simply Cooking kicked off last Sunday, and I understand you had like a viewing party, right?
Yeah, I had a little viewing party in my backyard, and my husband made like a projector screen, and we projected it in the yard with a little fire.
Nice.
And I served the food that I made on the show. Yeah.
Oh, excellent.
So that episode was on Sunday, and it airs all week. Season 4, episode 1. Very exciting.
What was the recipes? What sort of food?
Something to do with like packing a picnic.
Okay.
So I showed how to turn like traditional chopped salads into easy pack away things.
Okay.
So like a chickpea salad, a chicken salad, and a tuna salad. And I talked about how you could interchange the proteins for all 3 of them.
Nice.
I packed those up, and then I actually made fresh lentil wraps right on camera as well. And then I packed up the picnic, and the premise was, that I was going out for a picnic with my friends. So,
and there you were in your backyard with family and friends doing your own picnic.
Yeah, it was a lot
while
of
watching
fun.
the picnic-themed show.
Yes,
fantastic.
absolutely.
I love it. Well, what's the response been like so far?
Really great.
Yeah.
I mean, having the show in so many places around Canada, I do end up getting, messages from here and there. I had a girlfriend in Moncton once say to me that she was at her parents' house flipping through the channels and she saw my face.
Nice.
And, here in Ottawa, the response has been wonderful. I'm a personal chef and I grocery shop for people. I'm always here in the Westboro area shopping at the Superstore or at Farm Boy or at Produce Depot. And
listen, I was at the Superstore last week. I'm walking through, one of the staff members stops me and goes, "You know what? You and Daniela, from Rogers, you both shop here. I love seeing you two here." And I thought that was so cool.
I'm sure it's the same woman. And so, going to all the different grocery stores around the city and doing dinner parties for people. I do often get wonderful messages. I even actually get some clients who will reach out for a dinner party and say, like, "I want to do a dinner party. Can you do what you did in season whatever, episode whatever?"
I love it.
So it's pinch me. It's a lot of fun.
You said this month is the month of sweets.
Yes.
So we're doing a little something sweet on the show today, right?
I figured since it was October and we have Halloween coming at the end of the month.
Yeah.
If you guys have watched me before, you know that I'm all about whole foods and about eating healthy, but I definitely have a sweet tooth and I definitely love delicious, indulgent type foods.
Of course.
So I thought that, throughout the month, we are all used to those little tiny chocolate bar things that we get, and I thought I could do like a little take on it. This is something actually that went viral on TikTok and Instagram a few months ago.
Yourself,
No, just in general.
Okay,
so
gotcha.
You guys may have seen something like this before, but it's like a healthy Snickers.
I love a nice Snickers bar, and this is the healthy version of
So
it.
Derek helped me melt this beautiful dark chocolate here.
Listen, if we had smell-o-vision, let me tell you.
It's like a 50 to 70% dark chocolate. That's my favorite, but you can use whatever you want. You could even use Nutella or whatever here.
Okay.
I have these dates. They're not pitted, so I take the pits out myself.
It's nothing to do it, right?
No, but you can also buy them already pitted.
Right, of course.
And then you fill the inside with a nut. And if you have a nut allergy,
don't use nuts.
No, you could certainly use like a sunflower seed or.
You should see the face of our director, Jewel. She's like, "No, Derek, don't use the nuts. No. It's a joke, Jewel. I was kidding."
And the one on TikTok, I think, was using pecans. But today I'm using walnuts.
Nice.
And then my favorite, hazelnuts. So that we have this chocolate hazelnut situation going on. And if you don't have like a whole nut or a whole seed, you could also use a butter.
Okay.
So you just open it up and open it up and put your little scoop of almond butter in and smush her back together. Okay, then
That's pretty simple.
Pretty simple. And then we just...
What are we doing here?
No, oh my goodness. I'm trying to be fancy and use the fork.
We're in the kitchen. You're allowed to get messy in the kitchen.
Okay.
That's the whole idea.
See? And then we just... Why don't I just do that?
Plop them in
just
there.
plop them in there.
Yeah.
So you could totally...
Listen, you want to feed not only the crew, but our guests that are there. And there's a special guest on today's show.
There is.
And you walked in to the green room, and I could hear you because you and I...
Yes.
Everyone can hear us around.
Voices, yes.
Yeah, we've got, we're excitable people.
Yes.
Let me put it that
Yes.
way. We're excitable people, and you walked in and you said,
I said,
are a part of my life.
Yes,
basically.
I said, you are Bill. I said, I'm a child of the 80s and a teen of the 90s. And I grew up watching Much Music.
Yeah.
And running home from school as fast as I can to get home to turn that cable TV on. Sitting beside the VCR, ready to push record. And I don't know if anybody here, I mean, if you watch my other show, you've probably heard this, or if you follow me online, you have. But a secret of my business is that I'm a groupie for my favorite band, Hanson.
Really?
And
like you follow them around when they're in concert and tour?
And seen them in concert like over 400 times.
No.
And
you have not seen Hanson over 400 times. Have they even performed over 400 times?
Yes, they have the #1 independent band in the world. They're touring right now in the UK. And
I've never heard. Is that like a world record?
No. There's people who've seen them more than me. There's people who've seen them more than me.
Holy cow. By the way, we're talking about Bill Welichka here. He's in town because he's got a brand new autobiography, and of course his days at Much Music.
And he interviewed Hanson, so the reason it was exciting was because I have that VHS tape of his interview.
You still have it?
Of course, in a Rubbermaid container.
Of course I do, Derek. Don't be ridiculous.
I mean, so, chef.
Yeah.
Bop.
I see. You connected there.
And they do an event in Jamaica every year where they put on a concert on the beach and they invite their biggest fans, and I've gone every year. And the logo of that event is a pineapple. So when I started my business, my husband thought it would be a funny joke if I named my business Food or something like that. And actually thought it was really cute.
It is cute.
And so if you don't know that I love Hanson, it's just a really cute name. Chef, it makes sense.
Because it's delicious food. Great.
But if you know I like Hanson, it's kind of cute.
I had no idea. Like, you're not just a fan. You were like super fan. You're like Cuckoo Bananas fan.
Sure.
Right?
Sure.
Yeah.
Sleeping outside to get front row when I was a teenager, sleeping outside Much Music and Music Plus, and following around with meeting girls all over North America and becoming friends with them and all that kind of stuff.
When's the last time you saw them?
In Jamaica in January, this past January, and I'm booked again to go in a couple months to see them. I would have usually seen them in the summer.
Find out about your guests,
but they're on tour in Europe, so I didn't get to go.
Okay.
They also know about my show, and they know that the show is called Chef, and they have.
That is so cool.
I know.
That's amazing. Can we try one of these?
Yeah, so as soon as I dipped the chocolate, I took some fleur de sel. You could use kosher sea salt or Himalayan salt or whatever salt you have, but I love sweetened salt. So I sprinkled that on there.
Okay, I'm going to do a taste test.
Okay, me too.
Because we're about to run out of time.
We're going to take a bite and make a mess.
Neither of us are going to be able to talk, though. This could be difficult. Chef.
Chef. Yeah, there you go. Here you go. You guys have to try these. If you don't have dates, you could use prunes or dried apricots or any kind of dried fruit.
Sundays, 8 o'clock.
Yeah.
Sundays, 8 o'clock, brand new. Hey, Bill Welichka, speaking of him, he's coming up right after this. Don't go anywhere. Don't talk with your mouth.
This program is brought to you by Ignite TV. Now you're in command. Visit Rogers.com for more details.
Hi, my name is Arkantel and I'm part of Encore Ottawa. My set will be coming out this week, so I hope you can watch it and enjoy it. Thank you.
The regulars, the guys who keep this place in business. Last week, they had something to celebrate. Jason had just finished university. So they toasted his profs, his TAs, his old roommates. Well, they toasted just about everyone. But I worry about and take care of my guys. So even when I know they're not driving, sometimes that means bringing them a little surprise. And then they had a drink to me.
Brought to you by Smart Serve Ontario and Arrive Alive, Drive Sober.
Some of Canada's most interesting and accomplished people share their lives, careers, insights, and stories each week on Canada Files. I'm Valerie Pringle, and I'll be speaking with economist Mark Carney, actor Eugene Levy, author Louise Penny, and architect Moshe Safdie, among others. I hope you can join us.
Learn all about the creation of the National Capital Region on The History of Ottawa, according to Phil Jenkins, on Rogers TV.
Welcome back to Daytime Ottawa. Oh boy, we are in for a treat because I have him for not one, but two segments. Bill Welichka joining us here on the show, broadcaster and author of his brand new autobiography called A Happy Has-Been. Welcome. Great to have you here, Bill.
Good to see you again, Derek.
Good to see you too, man.
It's been way too long.
Yeah, it's been, I don't think we've seen each other for, I don't know, 7, 8 years somewhere, maybe even longer.
I
Actually,
want to say 12.
Longer than that, yeah.
12 years maybe.
Because you left for Kingston when?
I don't want to talk about how, but I've been in Kingston for about...
Isn't the how in the book?
Yes. A little bit of it. It gets talked about. Yeah. But I didn't want to leave Ottawa. I really didn't. I love Ottawa. But I've been in Kingston for around 11 years now. At a Chorus Entertainment property there.
Let's
loving it.
Yeah, I mean, I have always followed your career, and since the beginning. I mean, Danielle and I talking about the fact, you know, we were watching you on Much Music.
I used to watch Much Music too when I was in high school.
Yeah, absolutely. But before we get to that, Bill, so what was the beginning of your broadcasting career? Where was the start for you?
The week I graduated from college, in Seneca College, was a radio and television program. The week I graduated from that, I got hired at Much as an editor.
Okay.
I loved editing and then eventual producing. I sort of fell into the on-air thing, but all the while still in an edit bay. To this day, I love editing and I love producing. The on-air stuff is a bonus,
right?
More or less. But yeah, I love all aspects of television, and
so
I've always done all
aspects.
So
did they approach you then and say, "Hey, Bill, you know what? We love your personality. Want to give you a shot on air"? How did that happen?
No, not really. Part of my job at Much was to dub all the new videos that were coming into the building from the record companies.
Okay.
They were on 1-inch reels, 1-inch video reels. So I would dub to a Betacam tape, and that would go into the library. We'd have our own copy of these music videos, and all these country music videos were coming in, and I became a country fan in college, big country fan. And I just thought, we're getting in all these amazing videos, Garth Brooks and Alan Jackson, like everyone. A lot of Canadian stars were breaking through. We're not playing them. I submitted a proposal for a country show to John Martin, who's no longer with us, brilliant, brilliant man, and one ended up going on the air. Outlaws and Heroes, Canada's first country music program.
I remember, yeah.
And it was hosted by Denise Donlan. She went away on mat leave, and then the producers asked me to take care of the show while she was gone as a host.
Okay.
And then when she came back, we co-hosted. That was not a very long time. And then she became the director of music programming, so I hosted that show on my own. And then when they canceled the country show, they moved me over to regular flow programming, and that would have been in '94. And scared to death. I thought, who's going to believe me that I can throw to Oasis videos and Green Day videos when I was just throwing to Garth Brooks videos last week.
Right.
It was an easy transition. People.
I mean, extraordinary times too, right? Because everything was so new and music and music videos. I mean, if you didn't have a music video, you weren't on the map at all, right? As an artist, what was it like like behind the scenes? Like, what was that dynamic like? Because it was so new, and you know, you're all young, and all of these big stars are coming through your doors.
We got compared to MTV a lot, which was the only other game in town to the south.
Yeah.
We were very different. We didn't wait for a song to be a hit to play the video. We broke a lot of bands just by it being a great video. So yeah, we didn't abide by a lot of rules. No one was a polished broadcaster.
Right.
I think I was the only one that ever did any schooling, and that I went to a radio and television college. I think I was the only one. We all developed our own personalities. There wasn't a lot of do this, do that.
Right.
Basically go on the air and interview Weezer for 20 minutes live.
I'm just looking at, is this, what date is this one here?
Oh, that would have been that would have been 94.
Okay.
When they first moved me over to the regular
Well, and then
stuff.
you're a national personality, right? All of a sudden, you're thrust into this national spotlight. What was that like?
Yeah, go figure. I watched some of those old country music shows, the Outlaws and Heroes, and I thought, why did they keep me on the air? Oh my God.
Yeah,
it was
but
great.
We're all our own worst critics, right?
Yeah.
Obviously, viewers loved you. The management loved you.
Well, one of the beautiful things about Much as well is the ability to travel. Like it got to the point where I was in LA or New York every second weekend, or Switzerland or England, or just so many countries. It was and I never take it for granted, and I am always grateful that I had this amazing opportunity. But the kick for me was going across Canada and meeting people that watched every day.
Yeah.
And you realize that you, in a strange way, you're in people's lives, and they're welcoming you in. And when they see you in person, it becomes, I don't take away from the fact that they think I'm their friend.
Right.
I think it's a beautiful thing.
And I think everyone has always said that about you.
You've experienced that too,
right?
I'm sure, here.
Oh, sure, yeah. I
walk
just
down the
find,
street,
you know,
Derek.
while you and I clicked too, you know, and you know, we've only had brief meetings, is because I think you're such an approachable person, and I think that's what people respected about you, appreciated about you, and I'm not just talking about the fans. I think the bands felt the same way as well. I mean, look at Langlois. Wrote the preface in your book, From the Tragically Hip. How special was that?
It was amazing. I'm a Tragically Hip fan first and foremost. I've been interviewing the guys since 1995, all of them. And I've solidified relationships with all the members over the years. But moving to Kingston, those friendships grew even more.
Yeah.
Not just with the guys, but with their families. I became close with Mike Downey, Gord's brother. In the past several years, and Paul, I've always loved Paul. They're all beautiful human beings.
Yeah.
They're all very gracious with their time and very charitable. That we don't hear half the things they do for charity. I emailed Paul one day. I go, I'm writing this book. Do you mind doing the foreword? I thought he'd be like, I'm very busy, but no. He says, okay, give me a week or so. This was in January. I think in February, I got an email from the publisher that they had to, they wanted the book.
Right.
It was going to go to print. So I emailed Paul and I go, a bit of a rush job on, I need that forward this week. He goes, I'm in Costa Rica with Joanne, his wife. He goes, give me a couple days, okay? 2 days later, I got this email, and it was the foreword for the book, and I cried when I read it.
I'm not surprised.
Just beautiful words.
Was it ever?
And
was it ever?
This mental picture of him on a beach in Costa Rica when he could be relaxing with his laptop and a beer,
away.
Maybe a smoke banging on it. Joanne, I'll be with you in a second.
I got to do this for Bill. Hey, you're going to stick around because we got lots more to talk about. Talk about some highlights and the documentary that's out as well. We'll be back with Bill right after this.
I'm Carolyn King, and I'm a member of the Mississaugas of the Credit First Nation and the creator of the Moccasin Identifier. Philip Cote, an artist in Toronto here, took and redrew real moccasins. We're starting over with the children. The idea is that they would research whose land their school is built on, near, or what treaty area they're in. And the educational kit that we have has all that information in there. And the children just, like, I love it. My dream is that this province will be covered with moccasin identifiers within the next decade, and they will forever know whose land they're on. That's the goal. Educate and awareness with a nice, simple little program called the Moccasin Identifier.
Celebrate Ottawa returns this fall with brand new episodes starting October 15th. The show features people, places, and events that make Ottawa such a vibrant place to call home. Join us Sunday evenings at 7.
Join me, holistic chef Daniela Croco, for season 4 of Simply Cooking by Chef, right here on Rogers TV.
Welcome back. Back with Bill Welichka talking about, geez, I mean, so many great stories he has to share. And of course, his brand new book called A Happy Has-Been. Wanted to start with the documentary, 299 Queen Street West. Before we dive into it, we'll just give people a little sample of that documentary. Let's roll that, Dave.
There weren't any studios. You did the shows inside of the workspace.
I realized at the beginning there was nothing that we wouldn't do or play.
There was no script, there was no direction, there was nothing like this in the world.
The very first time I walked into the building, it hit me like I need to be here.
I was this kid who was this huge fan. Now I'm here, now I'm a part of it. It's just talking about it right now gives me goosebumps.
It was live TV, and as soon as that shot was over, it was halfway to Mars.
You could never be so far removed from the audience because they were right there looking at you.
Pretty special, Bill. Pretty special. What role did you play in this documentary?
About 2 years ago, I got asked to be interviewed for it by the director, Sean Menard. He was telling me about it. And I was like, cool. I'd love to be involved if you want to do an interview. And it's weird to look back too much. I think it's okay for nostalgic purposes. I was writing the book at this point, so like all of my past was always being talked about and people wanting to know about my past.
Right.
It was all of a sudden, it was weird. And I only wrote the book because I've been asked about it for years. You're gonna write a book, you're gonna write a book. And then I started writing one day on the weekend, and it just took about 1.5 years to write. At the same time, this documentary interview was happening. And then I sort of forgot about it until I started getting emails from Sean Menard, the director, and saying, yeah, it's going to be premiering at the South by Southwest Film Festival in the US, and then a Toronto premiere. Can you make it to the Toronto premiere? And I said, sure. He lined up some interviews for me for the doc, and they're saying, so, you know, in all these interviews, what do you think of the film? I'm like, I haven't seen it. They go, well, are you in it? And I better be. I was interviewed for 1.5 hours. Anyway, the premiere was 2 weeks ago in Toronto. It's going to tour Canada, and there's going to be little Q&As with some of the VJs after.
Right.
I'll be back here in Ottawa for that, October 28th, for the Much Music doc. Yeah. It's going to be fun. And yeah, so life's been very busy. I have a full-time job still, but I don't mind talking about the past as long as people are interested.
Well, and they are. I mean, obviously, you know, people have been bugging you for years about the idea of doing a book, and it's been toiling away in your own mind. The title, right? People probably look at the title and go, "A happy has-been." Why a has-been? I mean, you're not a has-been. You're still doing it.
I am, though. There are people. You know, I started off on this national level in Toronto, this major market. I've worked solidly for 35 years. There was that 1 year I couldn't work. We won't talk about that.
Okay.
I'm in between Ottawa and Kingston. But I've never left television. It's all I've ever done. It's all I've ever known. But my career sort of, you know, the major level, working my way down to a smaller market, to a smaller audience. And it was here in Ottawa where I realized, okay, the size of the audience doesn't matter. It's connecting with that audience that is the most important thing, and representing the station to these people.
Right.
But there are some people that only know me from a national level. And if they've heard the name Bill Welichka recently, I'm sure their reaction would be, oh yeah, I think I remember that guy. That's the guy with the long curly hair. Is he dead? Where is he? Oh, he's still working? What a has-been. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But the important part of the title for me, and it's self-deprecating, and I'm aware of that, and that's fine. I like that. The best part for me is the word happy that's involved in the title, because I am the happiest now than I've been in years and years and years. So,
really, eh?
It brings it up to date, and it also looks back at the past a little bit. And I didn't want the book to be like the ramblings of some old guy saying, let me tell you about the time I interviewed Madonna or David Bowie. It's more to it than that.
But you did. You did have the opportunity to interview some of the the biggest stars, not some of the biggest stars in the world. Was there any because it's easy to talk about stars, but was there anyone that sort of came in sort of under the radar that a lot of Canadians perhaps, didn't know necessarily much about them, that you interviewed and you said to yourself, wow, not only do I like this music, I like this person, like one of those
Quite
gems?
a few times.
Yeah, I imagine.
The book talks, I talk a lot about perfect circles in the book, and that is, being a fan of someone when I was a kid, or I had their patch on my jean jacket in high school with pictures in my locker in high school, and then years later, interviewing them or traveling with them and bonding with them. So there's a lot of perfect circles in the book that way. But yeah, sometimes, and our culture is different now with entertainment, is that you get maybe 10 minutes with someone in 7 minutes with someone for a junket. You don't really get a chance to spend quality time with them in that way. Much music was about, spending time with someone, and sometimes for an hour and a half, sometimes if I'm taping a special, a whole day with them or whatever, and then you really get to know them. And Garth Brooks, I knew Garth was a special person, but interviewing him and then spending time with him outside of a TV environment, just one of the most sweetest guys in the whole world. The Tragically Hip are like that too. We get little glimpses of them, especially during that final 2016 tour, little glimpses of them here and there in press conferences or whatever. But as human beings, beautiful, beautiful people, and what a blessing for me.
Yeah, to get to know somebody on that level. Quickly, I got 60 seconds left. There's also a film about yourself, right, in production. Am I right?
Yeah, a Kingston filmmaker. Loved the idea of this once important media figure moving to a small town and trying to recapture his youth. So he created this, stars me as myself in this fictitious parallel universe.
Okay.
In Kingston, where I'm actually interviewing bands, real bands. And so the movie the thread is live music and live bands, and I'm interviewing. The story is me trying to get back to Toronto. In the end, cool. I love Kingston and I stay there. Nice. And we've already shot some scenes for it.
Where can people pick up a copy of the book? Available everywhere?
BillWelichka.ca at all bookstores. I'll be here at Chapters at the Indigo in Gloucester this Saturday.
That's right, this Saturday, 4 p.m. Also,
12 to 4,
what's that?
12 to 4.
12 to 4, I'm sorry. Also, the documentary at the Bytown, Saturday, October 28th. That's at 7:30 p.m. We'll be back with more after this.
Thank you so much.
Hey,
Are you low on food? Struggling to pay the bills? Overwhelmed by life's challenges? When you need support but don't know where to turn, just dial 211. 211 connects you to the programs or services near you.
211, how can I help you?
211, help starts here.
Hey, I'm Picasso in Von Teef. I'm so happy to be involved with Encore Ottawa Season 3. I can't wait for you guys to see what I have in store for you.
Unbelievable. You just never see that. What a shot.
The OHL on Rogers TV.
Hello, I'm Liz Dowdsville, Lieutenant Governor of Ontario. In 2008, carbon monoxide, a deadly invisible gas, killed an entire family in our province. That tragedy led to a new law requiring homes with potential CO sources to have alarms. John Gignac's family members passed away that day, and he shares his story to save others.
Please make sure you have working CO alarms in your home. Protect your family today.
Play 4 games of bingo from the comfort of your own home each Monday at 7 p.m. for your chance to win money from our $2,000 regular bingo or $5,000 super bingo night. Kiwanis TV Bingo, Mondays at 7 p.m. on Rogers TV.
Join us for season 4 of Simply Cooking by Chef, Sunday nights at 8 o'clock, right here on Rogers TV.
Welcome back to Daytime Ottawa, back to talk some theater. You know how much I love theater. I immerse myself in it when I was young. Unfortunately, opportunities aren't available for everybody out there, and we need to see more diversity, and that's why I'm excited to talk to our next guest. They're from a production theater company called Marginally Fit. I'm joined by Fenton Ho and Tomo Adachi. Welcome, gentlemen. Great to have you here. Thank you so much.
Great to be here.
Let's first of all talk, Fenton, a little bit about the idea behind Marginally Fit. I sort of touched on it off the top, but I imagine, you know, yourself looking for opportunities, you probably found it difficult and challenging.
Yeah, I guess I'm not afraid to say that. I mean, obviously, things like this kind of grow out of a sense of frustration, right? So, I mean, obviously, you know, the lack of roles or the lack of parts, and even the roles that, you know, came about are somewhat distorted, right? So the whole thing is like, in, you know, lack of stories. So out of that, I mean, we're thinking, you know, can we do something about this? You know, I don't really want to call myself an actor, but I mean, as interested in that sort of theatrical arts, we said, okay, can we do something about it? But coming out of that, we thought, it's not just simply an issue of race. I mean, there's other ways that, you know, other groups are marginalized. So that's how we came to the idea of Marginally Fit. So not just simply emphasis on race.
Tomo, about yourself, I mean, talk about, you know, your own challenges on a personal side of things. I think we're seeing more diversity, certainly perhaps in TV and film, but, you know, that hasn't, we haven't seen that move over into theater yet. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, particularly in Ottawa, I would say. Really? Like, I used to live in Toronto and Vancouver, and I'm very new to acting, so but I've been a consumer for live theater for last 40 years, and since I came to Ottawa like 20 years ago, I started having trouble with connecting what I can see in the theater. So I have some frustration about as a consumer of the live theater.
Have you seen any changes at all? Like, I mean, has it changed over the last decade? Right? Because, I mean, Fenton, you mentioned the frustration. So obviously through your frustration that you haven't seen enough, if anything?
I think there's beginnings of having some discussions. I mean, certainly we're having diversity directors in companies. Again, still not many people being cast in roles. Or I think the other thing that we're seeing is you might have a phenomenon where you have certain shows that are distinctively racialized, right?
Right.
Which is kind of interesting, where and so you still see some of that. So I think things are changing, but I'm not sure at what rate, right?
For those that aren't familiar with what a diversity director is, just for our viewers at home, how would you describe that?
I would characterize it as someone who's just trying to at least consider the issue of, you know, in terms of casting, you know, I think there's a general idea we would want to have a theater that's more representative of the population. Right. And so I think in keeping with that, you know, how the role of a director like that would be to sort of consider, you know, that as they cast, right?
You've decided to do a production, Tomo, called The Pillow Man. Tell us a little bit about this play.
This is a dark comedy about a child murder. Happened, and that was very resembled to the stories written by the protagonist, Katorian, which is Fenton, and so that's how stories start. And so a lot of stories happens in the interrogation of the police, also the prison cell in the police station building. So it's quite complicated story. It's yeah.
What sort of themes do we see within this play?
I could see very oppressive totalitarian regime that's That's kind of described in the play. Also, I can see a big contrast in each character. Like each character has a very complex. Even the police are very brutal. Like they have a very human side of a thing. Fenton is a very affectionate person, but it can be very aggressive and angry person sometimes. So we can see a lot of contrast in the one character. So,
and he's referring to your character, not you, as a...
No, that's me.
Just to be clear. Yeah, so tell me about your role. How would you describe your character?
I'm a writer, but above all, I write very unusual stories that sometimes dwell on very dark themes. I care for my brother Mikkel. He's the only family I have left. And I have no idea why the police have dragged me in to talk to me about my stories, my short stories.
Do some of these themes that we just talked about today, the frustration, lack of diversity, do we see that within this production?
Because I think what you see is like there are elements in the story that are just basically racist and ableist, right? So you see that. And I think for us, like one aspect that really resonated, at least for me, about the play is that it's set in a totalitarian state. There's allusions basically to the Chinese characters that are in there. And then I think particularly right now, we're starting to see, particularly with the pandemic, we had a rise of anti-Asian hate. So I think some of these themes I thought were kind of very interesting. And so we want to bring them through as we portray the story.
Tomo, can you expand a little bit about your character?
My character is an older brother of Katurian. And I was tortured by my parents for 7 years.
You're giving the story away.
Right? Oh, yeah, is that right? Yeah, so...
It's tough to do, Fenton, when you're describing a role. It's tough to do.
Yeah, so I'm a bit slow, permanent brain damage.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's my role. Yeah.
Fenton, tell everybody at home, you've got a run from October the 4th to the 7th, is that right?
October the 7th at the Arts Court Atelier, yep.
Looking forward, the future of Marginally Fit, do you look to see taking on more of these types of productions?
Well, I think it's one of these kind of like, points of interrogation here in the sense like, this is kind of an experiment. This is our first show. We're delving into it. Certainly we're thinking about the future, but again, let's how is Ottawa? Like, is Ottawa ready for something like this?
Right.
So that's an interesting question.
Yeah, agreed. I mean, theater's been a struggle in Ottawa in general. So, doing something like this, we'll see. So this is the shout out to Ottawa to go and see the production and learn something. It really is an incredible play. Again, the Pillowman Arts Court Atelier, October 4th to 7th, 7 p.m. show times. We'll be back with more right after this. Don't go anywhere.
I belong here.
You may think I don't fit in.
That I don't look the part.
But to me, curling is more than a sport.
It's my community.
Together, we can sweep away the barriers.
Create spaces where we all belong.
And experience the joy of curling. I belong here.
We belong here. We unite. And united we curl.
Welcome to the traditional, ancestral, unceded territory of the Stalo people. The Stalo are people of the river. I'm so thankful for the courage and resiliency of our ancestors who lived on this land since time immemorial. Each of us have gifts from the Creator, and our Creator has a plan and purpose to be fulfilled in our territory. As we embrace our traditional teachings, we can lead the next generation into the fullness of what our Creator designed. Our shared history reveals a broken relationship, but as all Canadians commit to hear truth, acknowledge injustice, we can learn to walk in our traditional way, Letsamot, with a good heart and a good mind. Then all of our lives will be enriched. Kwasai.
Hi, my My name is Arkantel and I'm part of Encore Ottawa. My set will be coming out this week, so I hope you can watch it and enjoy it. Thank you.
Welcome back to Daytime Ottawa here on Rogers TV. Back to talk about a really interesting topic, because I think so many of us, no matter what industry we're in or even on a personal basis, how, the pandemic affected us, how the lockdowns affected us. And, for some of us, it perhaps was a moment where you could sort of stop and step back a little bit and look what kind of life that you have been living. And I think my next guest would agree that's exactly what she did. I'm joined by Samantha Regenbaugh. She is the CEO of What's Up Canada. Samantha, welcome. Great to see you after all these years. Welcome. And thanks for taking the time. And I know you traveled too, so I appreciate you taking the time to come. Take us back to before the pandemic, pre-pandemic, and what your lifestyle was like at that time, Samantha.
Holy moly. It was definitely the epitome of what would be referred to as hustle culture. So it was nonstop, literally batting the, business balls back. I had, at the time, 3 companies, 3 handfuls of full-time employees, and I started an accidental franchise that I expanded across Canada. So I had a team of bloggers in my hometown of Montreal, and we started hosting networking events. We would go in and highlight local businesses and products and services, and there was a demand to replicate that across the country. So a couple years in, I had 24 communities. Like I said, a lot of employees, a lot of bloggers, and every month it seemed as though we were popping up a different community. What's Up West Island, What's Up Montreal, What's Up Halifax, What's Up Glengarry, and I was just hiring and hiring. And yeah, at a certain point, in my opinion, quality control gets jeopardized when I specifically can't put my final stamp of approval on things. And it was nuts. So, yeah.
Like, did you have any work-life balance at that time, or was it just all work?
I just honestly was so focused on trying to make everything, I don't want to say perfect, it's the wrong term, but there was so much that was going on that I just wanted to, make sure everything was good and solid. And I would say there were days that I was doing 15 to 18-hour work days.
Wow.
Yeah. And unfortunately, but likely a big cause of the stress and the nonstop was I started getting really weird symptoms.
Okay.
I started going into states of paralysis. Some days I wouldn't be able to see. Some days I'd be leading my team meeting and I wouldn't be able to, even remember the color yellow or my assistant's name. Long story short, I kept going into the hospital. They kept saying it was stress.
Okay.
And of course, I had a lot of stress on my back, but it ended up triggering an autoimmune diagnosis.
Okay.
So definitely I was in hustle culture, but I now know the importance of a healthy work-life balance.
Yeah, so then we fast forward and the pandemic hits and lockdowns start to begin, and it's a negative for many people, but is it fair to say it was a bit of a positive for yourself?
In a really odd way, it was nice to just pause, readjust, figure out really what my passions are, really where I wanted to focus my energy, because you don't get time back. And I was able to aggregate everything that I had created and transition it into this magazine, and I'm so excited, and I don't need 1 million employees anymore. I have an amazing team now.
Nice,
and
nice. So what's the idea behind the magazine? What's Up Canada? How would you describe it? What's the content like?
It's all lifestyle and entrepreneurship. Of course, there's a lot of travel in there, but I ultimately, I don't want, it's a little bit selfish to say, but I was looking for a magazine that catered to my needs as a business owner, but also my wants. And I really wanted to see something that did have lifestyle, but also did have business tips and stuff, and a place where I could champion other business owners, because there was such a boom during the pandemic of small businesses and entrepreneurs, which is amazing. And I just wanted somewhere to like bundle that up. So yeah, What's Up Canada is lifestyle and entrepreneurship.
Nice. And then, so the idea was, you know, to publish it as a magazine, as you would find on any rack in 2024, but you decided to sort of move ahead with it on a digital format, sort of what seasonally. Tell me the decision making around that.
Yeah, so right now I'm hoping to be published in 2024, but personally, I love the realness, the transparency, and the behind the scenes of a business owner's life. I love being on TikTok and YouTube, watching vlogs, and I figured it would be awesome to document the whole process. Okay. So the literary agent, the publishing house, actually traveling, going into the hotels, the small businesses, unboxings, and I wanted to start with a digital edition. So this one actually came out today. It's the autumn edition, and there will be a winter one as well as spring, and that way I could also sort of beta test what works, what doesn't work, in hopes of being published next year.
Well, you've talked about it in general terms, but you know, if people are diving into this, you know, this fall edition, what are they going to find?
They're going to find, like I said, lifestyle and entrepreneurship content, but amazing articles, amazing features, as well as in conjunction with all of the social presence. So example, we went to a couple restaurants, did some escape rooms, which are friggin' amazing. So you can read the article, of course, but you can go on our Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, and actually see the whole journey, the whole experience. So it's fun to get both.
Samantha, if somebody finds themselves in that position you were in, you know, they're watching today and they're in that you know, hustle lifestyle where, you know, they're working 15, 18-hour days, and I think a lot of people wear it as sort of this badge of honor. What advice would you give them?
I would definitely say it's so lucrative to set yourself up for success by having routines, definitely morning and evening, and logging off and actually living in the present and enjoying life. It's like ultimately so important. So follow your passion, do what makes you happy, abso-friggin-lutely, but you definitely need to have as much playtime as work time.
And I imagine building a good team around you too, right? Because I think people in that hustle industry, they tend to say to themselves, well, I need to control everything, right? Because otherwise it's not going to be absolutely perfect. Where can people find the digital copy?
whatsupcanadamagazine.com, as well as Instagram, and I will be YouTubing all the behind the scenes on my personal channel, Samantha Rechenbaugh.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for joining us, and congratulations. We'll be right back after this. Don't go anywhere.
After a night out with your friends, there's always options for getting home safely. You could call your BFF, your mom or dad, whoever you can count on for a safe ride home. You could call your favorite cab company or 1-888 taxi guy, or you could use the Arrive Alive smartphone app to help you choose your ride. Be it a friend, transit, or taxi, getting home safely is app easy. Now available for iOS and Android devices. Visit arrivealive.org to find out more. Arrive Alive, drive sober.
Learn all about the creation of the National Capital Region on The History of Ottawa, according to Phil Jenkins, on Rogers TV.
Celebrate Ottawa returns this fall with brand new episodes starting October 15th. The show features people, places, and events that make Ottawa such a vibrant place to call home. Join us Sunday evenings at 7.
Join me, holistic chef Daniela Croco, for season 4 of Simply Cooking by Chef, right here on Rogers TV.
brown girl, little brown girl.
Hey, I'm Picasso in Vontief. I'm so happy to be involved with Encore Ottawa Season 3. I can't wait for you guys to see what I have in store for you.
Welcome back to Daytime Ottawa. I think this is a great example, talking to my next guest, as how you can really make a difference in people's lives. And sometimes we're overwhelmed with thinking, well, what can I do? Well, all you have to do is start by something very small, and that's exactly what one of my next guests did. I'm joined by Shauna Thibodeau, founder and co-author of Shauna's Outreach. Welcome, Shauna. Great to have you here. And Amanda Sturzik, which is a co-author, and we just had you on the show. So welcome back to you, Amanda. Great to have you. Shauna, so tell me this idea behind Shauna's Outreach. Where was the inspiration?
I've been on the other side of the system, and I found out really fast how hard it was to find help when you needed it. There are supports out there, but not always easily accessible. So I decided to bridge a gap and fill some holes and start doing it myself.
So that began back in 2021, February of 2021, if I remember correctly. So on Facebook, you decided to start, I guess, creating a group. Walk me through them. What was your purpose there?
I had been doing it for several years, volunteering with other organizations, and COVID caused some of those to stop. So I knew I couldn't stop feeding people. So I just continued my outreach, as I had always for other people, just collecting things we can all share.
You and I, the three of us spoke before the show in the green room, and talking about the fact, that Ottawa has declared, we have a housing crisis, a homelessness emergency crisis. How frustrating as an individual who's been on that other side and doing what you do, as an individual, and seeing that this crisis is just worsening.
It's extremely frustrating, but I focus on the good things, and there are lots of helpers out there. As bad as it is for the people who need help, we are reaching them. Some of us are working very, very hard, unfunded, unpaid. This is in our own time fighting for those who don't have access to the internet or to supports, and trying to get it. It takes long, I understand, but we are out there.
Amanda, how did you two connect?
So earlier this year, I attended a Ladies Who Lunch event at the NAC. And at that event, Catherine Landry surprised Shauna with an award. She was gifted money to help her with her outreach services because she's unfunded. So at the end of Shauna's talk, Catherine sort of said to everybody, okay, I want all of you to think about what you could do to help Shauna's outreach. And you know me, I'm an author.
Yeah.
Up to that point, I was just working on my 12th book. So I went up to Shauna at the break and I said, I have an idea. Let's write a book. I will do it for free. I will find an editorial team who will also do it for free, so that we can take all the money from the proceeds from writing this book and selling it to help Shauna's outreach, so to help feed people living in poverty and on the streets.
So what do we find in this book? Tell me a little bit about the content.
So we have a little bit of background about who Shauna is, where she came from, what Shauna's Outreach does, how it helps people. And also we talk about a day in the life of Shauna's Outreach, as well as a day in the life of a donation. So we made sort of a whimsical little story about a bar of soap named Hotel Hank. Everybody takes the freebies from the hotel, and then they sit in your house. So how even if you don't have money to give, you can actually help someone by giving something. So we talk about that, and then challenges and opportunities, and giving people ideas about how they can help, whether it's contacting their elected officials, or they have extra food at a business event, so contacting a local food bank and seeing if they can pass it on to them.
So Shauna, what is a day in the life of Shauna's Outreach? What does your day, your team, what does it look like?
After doing it for so long, I have a lot of amazing supporters. There's new ones all the time. When people find out about me, they love what I do. So it's collecting people sharing blankets or winter wear. It's people saying, my child doesn't like this lunch snack anymore. Can you take an open box? It's high can you help me? My family hasn't eaten in a couple of days. That's my day. My day is all sides of the coin, trying to make it all work. I've got local businesses who give me extra. It's all those little things. Again, unfunded, unpaid, unregistered. You kind of stay under the radar, and word gets around, so you get some really good donations.
What about those relationships that you've built? You've obviously built a lot of relationships with people who find themselves in difficult circumstances. Tell me about what that means to not only you, but to them.
The book is dedicated to 5 of my street friends. Some of them aren't here anymore. One of them, I did find him and give him a copy of the book, and he was speechless to find out that it was dedicated to him. That's how much I love them. I believe everybody needs a little bit of hope to get through their day. Lots of friends made out there, but also with the donors and supporters. I share with over 30 charities in Ottawa. If I can't use it or find a good home for it, I will find somebody who does.
Right.
No donation will get unused.
Amanda, you've got a book launch coming up. Tell us a little bit about that.
So it's actually 2 weeks from today, Tuesday, October 17th, 12:30 to 2:30 p.m. at Morning Owl on Armstrong Street. So not too far from here. We have a number of elected officials also who are going to be joining us at the event. We reached out to all levels of government, and we've had municipal, provincial, and federal elected officials who are either going to attend in person or someone from their office is going to attend on their behalf.
Shauna, very quickly, where can people get a copy of the book, and better yet, how can they reach you to make a donation?
I have a Facebook page. My email address is shaunasoutreach@gmail.com, and the book is available at Coles, Billings, Morning Owl on Armstrong, Lollies and Scoops in Manotick.
Nice.
Yeah, all the
Function Physio in Old Ottawa South.
Salon Bliss on Bank, all kinds of little stores, but the Facebook page will tell you.
Congrats on this, and thanks to you both. Really appreciate it. We'll be right back after this.
On Rogers TV.
Play 4 games of bingo from the comfort of your own home each Monday at 7 p.m. for your chance to win money from our $2,000 regular bingo or $5,000 super bingo night. Kiwanis TV Bingo, Mondays at 7 p.m. on Rogers TV.
Join us for season 4 of Simply Cooking by Chef, Sunday nights at 8 o'clock, right here on Rogers TV.
Hi, my name is Arkantel and I'm part of Encore Ottawa. My set will be coming out this week, so I hope you can watch it and enjoy it. Thank you.
Welcome back to the show. All right, let's review some of the events and topics we talked about today. Just a reminder, first of all, before I go to the first event, Daniela Croco, her show Simply Cooking, kicked off on Sunday last week. That was episode 1. If you missed it, go to rogerstv.com/Ottawa, and you can check on the schedule there and see the next one. 8 o'clock on Sunday is episode 2 of season 4. Bill Wilichka, book signing, Chapters Gloucester, Saturday, October the 7th. So that's coming up this Saturday. I believe he said 12 to 4 o'clock. And again, the documentary 299 Queen Street West, that's happening at the Bytown Cinema Saturday, October the 28th at 7:30 p.m. Just a magical journey through the early years and subsequent years of much music. The Pillowman, I had both Fenton and Tomo on the show, cast members over there at Marginally Fit. The Pillowman is running from October 4th to 7th. Showtimes are at 7 p.m. and that's at the Arts Court Atelier. You can find them on Facebook, by the way, to find out more information. And Samantha's brand new magazine, it kicked off digitally today. You can find out all that information at whatsupcanadamagazine.com. Thanks for watching. See you next time.
Call the Rogers TV viewer response line. Email us or connect with us on social media.
Do you have something to share? Let everyone know about your next meeting, your need for volunteers, or your fundraising event on the Rogers TV Community Billboard. Send us your words and we'll bring them to life on Rogers TV and rogerstv.com. When it's time to spread the word, go to rogerstv.com to add your announcement to the Community Billboard.
I'm Derek Fage, and I encourage you to join me each and every weekday at 2 p.m. for an edition of Daytime